Let's dive right in.
An AI spent 20 minutes looking at a decades-old web browser and found a massive security flaw.
Wow.
Yeah. And while human engineers were trying to confirm it, the AI quietly flagged 50 more.
Welcome to today's deep dive. I am really glad you are joining us. We have a wild stack of developments to unpack today.
It is a genuinely packed agenda.
It really is.
Yeah.
Today, we are looking at a historic lawsuit. A top AI lab is taking the Pentagon to court.
Which is a massive shift in how these companies interact with the government.
We will also explore the rapid explosion of autonomous AI agents. And finally, we are examining a major cybersecurity breakthrough. AI is fundamentally rewriting software security.
The sources today are just wild. We are watching AI cross a very clear line. It is moving from a cool chatbot to critical global infrastructure.
Let's start with that government friction. Anthropic versus the U.S. Department of Defense.
Right.
This is a highly complex situation. Anthropic filed 2 lawsuits against the Pentagon.
2 federal lawsuits. That is not a minor legal dispute. It is a major shot across the bow.
It is a massive escalation. The Pentagon officially labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk.
That is a very heavy designation.
It is a deeply damaging label for any tech company.
It sounds like a simple logistics problem on paper. But in enterprise software, a supply chain risk means you are a fundamental security threat. It implies the government believes your underlying code could be compromised.
The downstream consequences were immediate. Government contractors suddenly faced a massive compliance hurdle.
Total panic for developers.
Exactly. If you build software for federal agencies, you're suddenly ripping out code.
You have to certify you aren't touching Anthropic models anywhere in your stack.
It creates a cascading failure across federal development pipelines. If a contractor uses a third-party tool powered by Anthropic, that tool is banned.
It is a logistical nightmare. Thousands of developers just scrambling.
The Federal Purchasing Agency then took drastic action. They formally terminated Anthropic's OneGov contract.
Yeah.
This completely removed their services from federal use, just overnight.
They wiped them off the map, no warning at all.
Anthropic is arguing a very specific legal point here. They claim the government intentionally skipped required legal processes.
Right. Federal procurement law strictly dictates how these security labels are applied.
You can't just slap a devastating label on a vendor arbitrarily.
There is a formal review process. There has to be evidence.
And an appeals process? Anthropic says the Pentagon just ignored those procedural rules entirely.
It is kind of like a landlord evicting a commercial tenant. But they just change the locks in the middle of the night. They skip all the legal paperwork entirely.
That is a great way to picture it. Anthropic is asking the courts to pause this designation immediately.
They want an injunction to stop the bleeding.
But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. The internal politics of the AI industry are shifting.
This is easily my favorite part of the source material.
The support for Anthropic came from inside their competitors' houses.
Yeah. Over 30 employees from fierce rival companies stepped up.
Prominent people from OpenAI and Google DeepMind filed a public statement. They are actively supporting Anthropic's lawsuit.
These companies usually fight brutally for market share, but they formed a unified front over this specific issue.
And it wasn't just junior research staff signing this document.
No, Jeff Dean was one of the signatories.
Which is just wild to see on paper.
It really is.
Yeah.
Jeff Dean is Google DeepMind's chief scientist.
He is essentially a founding father of modern machine learning.
His signature carries immense weight across the tech industry. It sends a massive signal to federal regulators.
If the Pentagon simply didn't like the Anthropic contract, fine.
Right. They could have easily chosen a different AI provider.
They could have quietly opted not to renew the deal.
Yes. But dropping the national security risk label on a U.S. company, that sets a truly chilling precedent.
It threatens the entire domestic AI development ecosystem.
It certainly does. It stifles open discussion about AI governance.
That inherent tension will only grow. The government ultimately wants control over critical systems. The industry desperately wants unfettered innovation.
And those two desires are colliding head-on right now. We're seeing the battle lines being drawn.
Let me ask you this. Why would top scientists at Google and OpenAI publicly defend a major rival?
Because these scientists fear government overreach way more than corporate competition.
Makes sense.
If the Pentagon can arbitrarily ban Anthropic today without due process, they could easily ban OpenAI tomorrow. They see the existential threat to their research.
So they're protecting open research over their own corporate rivalries.
Precisely. It is a unified front against sudden government blacklisting.
2-sec silence. Let's shift our focus to the technology itself. The evolution of these models is accelerating at a blistering pace.
The speed of product deployment is dizzying right now.
Our sources highlight some major updates this week. OpenAI's GPT 5.4 is making significant waves.
Sam Altman publicly called it his favorite model to talk to.
Which is saying something, considering the internal models he has access to.
It is a huge endorsement.
But OpenAI also admitted something surprising. They openly acknowledge the model still has 3 distinct weaknesses.
I genuinely appreciate that level of corporate transparency. Usually, tech launches are just pure hype.
It is a refreshing change.
Yeah.
One of those stated weaknesses is prompt adherence over long conversations. I have to admit, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself.
Oh, we all do. You ask an AI to brainstorm a marketing strategy. 20 prompts later, it's writing Python code for a database.
It is a very common frustration. Prompt drift is when the AI slowly forgets your core instructions over time.
It essentially loses the thread of the complex conversation.
But the new GPT 5.4 prompt guide has a brilliant hidden trick.
It is almost too simple to work, but it really does.
I saw that in the documentation. Tell us about the trick.
You just have to explicitly tell the AI what done looks like.
Okay.
You add one single line at the end of your prompt. It stops those messy, rambling AI answers dead in their tracks.
You define the exact finish line for the model.
Yeah. You just write, stop generating when you have 3 bullet points. It forces the attention mechanism to stay strictly on track.
That is a highly practical workflow adjustment. Beat. But the truly disruptive news is about autonomous systems.
This is the big one.
Andrej Karpathy just released a project called Auto Research.
This specific project completely blew my mind. It is a fully autonomous AI agent.
Let's clearly define that term for a moment. An AI agent is a program that independently completes complex tasks for you.
Right. It doesn't just passively answer questions. It actively takes action.
Auto Research actually runs complex coding experiments overnight while you sleep.
It tests hypotheses, analyzes data, and improves its own code.
You literally wake up, and the AI has optimized your entire project.
It has iterated through dozens of failed approaches to find the working solution.
It acts as an untiring, highly capable research assistant. It iterates continuously without needing any human approval.
It fundamentally changes the standard workflow of scientific research.
And the wider industry is heavily cross-pollinating these autonomous ideas. Microsoft just launched an enterprise tool called Copilot Cowork.
Which immediately sounds a lot like Anthropic's Claude Cowork feature.
The naming conventions are definitely bleeding together.
Yeah.
But here is the ironic twist buried in the source material.
I love this detail.
Microsoft built this partly using Anthropic's underlying technology.
Wait, Microsoft, the company heavily invested in OpenAI's ecosystem.
Yes, they are deliberately using Anthropic tech alongside OpenAI models for this specific tool.
That clearly shows how fragmented enterprise infrastructure is becoming.
Nobody wants to be locked into just one single ecosystem anymore.
Enterprise clients are terrified of strict vendor lock-in. By integrating multiple models, Microsoft is essentially offering an API abstraction layer.
It is a highly pragmatic approach. Hardware giants are also making surprising strategic moves.
NVIDIA is actively preparing a platform called
NemoClaw. It's an open-source AI agent platform
designed to sit deep inside various enterprise tools.
But the truly surprising detail here is purely hardware-related. The sources indicate NemoClaw might run perfectly without NVIDIA GPUs.
Right, and that is wild because NVIDIA makes nearly all their money selling GPUs.
Exactly. It strongly suggests NVIDIA is actively hedging its bets.
They want to control the foundational software layer of AI agents. They want that control regardless of the underlying hardware.
They clearly see where the broader market is heading. Compute is becoming commoditized.
The software platforms generate the real sticky enterprise lock-in.
And the market is currently flooded with institutional cash. Look at the infrastructure startup Nisco.
They just secured a massive $2 billion in funding.
$2 billion is not a standard seed round. That is heavy industrial capital.
It is specifically allocated to drastically boost AI compute infrastructure.
It shows massive investor confidence in the long-term vision. We are going to see major leaps in AI thermal efficiency.
The capital flowing into physical infrastructure is just unprecedented.
It's like stacking Lego blocks of data centers across the globe. They are physically pouring concrete for these computing clusters.
Yeah.
Beat. With AI agents working autonomously overnight, what happens to human oversight?
Our role totally shifts. We stop doing the granular line-by-line work. Instead, we become the strategic directors of the AI's overarching goals.
We set the parameters and let the machine execute the steps.
Exactly.
We become the managers of AI rather than just operators.
We are managing a digital workforce now. The skill set shifts from coding to effective delegation. Sponsor.
Welcome back. We have been discussing the rapid expansion of autonomous AI agents.
Now we're going to look at a high-stakes application. This is where the tech proves its true disruptive value.
This is the cybersecurity story we mentioned earlier, and it is absolutely fascinating from an engineering perspective.
Anthropic recently revealed a major internal testing project.
They used their flagship Claude Opus 4.6 model for a massive security audit.
They didn't just test it in a sterile sandbox environment. They aimed it at a massive, real-world target.
They partnered directly with Mozilla's core engineering team. Claude Opus 4.6 spent 2 full weeks reviewing the Firefox codebase.
They aimed it straight at Firefox's legacy architecture. We're talking decades of intertwined open-source development.
It is a remarkably complex environment. The scale of this automated audit is hard to fully comprehend.
Claude scanned approximately 6,000 different files within that dense code base.
6,000 files of complex, often undocumented legacy C++ code.
After digesting all that data, Claude submitted 112 formal security reports.
And the sheer speed of discovery is the really scary part here.
Claude definitively found its very first vulnerability in just 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Human engineers usually need weeks just to understand the basic file structure.
The timeline gets even more intense. The human engineers started manually verifying that first 20-minute bug.
Right.
By the time they successfully confirmed it, Claude had flagged 50 more potential issues.
The AI was running absolute circles around the human verification team.
It was finding flaws faster than humans could even read the reports.
Ultimately, Mozilla confirmed 22 real, actionable vulnerabilities from Claude's initial reports.
That is a remarkably high hit rate for any automated scanning system. Traditional scanners usually just spit out false positives.
It is highly precise. More importantly, 14 of those vulnerabilities were officially classified as high-severity flaws.
High severity means those bugs could have been actively exploited by malicious actors. They are not theoretical edge cases.
Yes, they are critical, immediate vulnerabilities.
To put this achievement into perspective, let's look at the annual tracking data.
Those specific AI-discovered fixes represent almost 20% of Firefox's most serious security patches for the entire year.
Almost 20% of the year's major patches came from one single 2-week AI audit.
That is a staggering metric.
It really is.
We must remember the historical context here. Firefox is a rigorously maintained, deeply scrutinized open-source project.
It is a foundational piece of the internet. It has been audited by thousands of human developers.
Professional security researchers have poked and prodded this exact code for over 20 years.
Thousands of human experts completely missed these deep architectural flaws, and Claude found them almost immediately. Whoa! Imagine the scale of an AI instantly comprehending millions of lines of code.
It represents a profound shift in analytical capability. The AI can hold the entire system architecture in its working memory simultaneously.
It highlights our biological limitations. We just can't hold that much active context in our brains at once. We have to break things down.
Anthropic prudently took this experiment one step further. They wanted to rigorously test the dual-use nature of the model.
The classic defense versus offense problem in cybersecurity.
Precisely. They systematically tested whether Claude could turn these discovered vulnerabilities into real, executable zero-day attacks.
Could it actively weaponize the bugs it just found?
That is the ultimate nightmare scenario for global cybersecurity experts. An AI that finds flaws and immediately writes the exploit code.
The empirical result was actually quite reassuring for the industry.
Claude is currently much better in finding vulnerabilities than weaponizing them.
Thank goodness for that asymmetry. It acts as a supercharged code reviewer, not an automated hacker.
It excels at holistic pattern recognition for defense. However, constructing a novel, working exploit requires a very different type of sequential reasoning.
Currently, it struggles significantly with the offensive application,
which is a huge, much-needed win for the good guys right now.
It essentially buys us crucial time to secure our aging infrastructure.
But the defensive capabilities are undeniably revolutionary today. B, why couldn't thousands of human reviewers find these massive Firefox bugs?
Because humans fundamentally look at code in tiny, isolated chunks. We look file by file. We get severe tunnel vision.
Right.
The AI can hold the entire massive system architecture in its memory simultaneously. It sees how a variable in one file breaks a function in another.
The AI sees the whole puzzle at once. Humans just see individual pieces.
That is the perfect way to conceptualize it. It easily sees the complex routing connections we naturally miss.
2-sec silence. Let's synthesize what we have covered today. The sources present a very clear picture of an ecosystem in rapid transition.
We are standing right in the messy middle of a major technological revolution.
On one side, we see AI models becoming staggeringly powerful. It seamlessly acts as an autonomous coding researcher.
It is an unparalleled cybersecurity auditor that spots critical flaws human experts missed.
It is flawlessly doing high-level cognitive work that was exclusively human just months ago.
Exactly.
But on the other side of the equation, this exact immense power is causing unprecedented friction.
We are seeing major historic clashes with national governments.
The Pentagon supply chain bans are glaring proof of that deep structural friction.
It is actively leading to defensive cross-industry alliances among fierce corporate rivals.
The entire tech landscape is shifting rapidly beneath our feet. AI is no longer just a useful tool for summarizing documents.
It is becoming foundational global infrastructure. It really is the new electricity.
And every major player is currently fighting over who ultimately controls the grid.
And as we integrate these autonomous models deeper into our vital societal systems, the stakes will only get higher. The pressure on developers and regulators is immense.
Speaking of those incredibly high stakes, I want to leave you with a final thought today.
If AI models like Claude become our primary security auditors, finding bugs humans can't even see,
Who or what is going to audit the AI's own blind spots?
that is the critical, defining question moving forward.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the rapid changes in tech, and we will see you next time. Ode to our music.